I think one of the main things that is infuriating in like today's day and age is the fact that we always need a tragedy to sort of get the world and just people in general to speak about issues that, you know, really and truly could have been prevented. I mean, there's been a huge amount of support and like protests in support of the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and I'm happy to say I'm part of that. But part of, like, the cynic in me tells me that this should have been done like years ago, like, and especially now, and something that's kind of it affected me in a way that I never really had to think about before. In my area, there's a school nearby with a child who's 15 years old, and unfortunately, they took their own life. They jumped in front of a train and just ended their life. And on further inspection, you realize the kid was bullied. He was like just not treated nicely by his classmates and the people around him. Like, this kid is 15 years old. Think about what you were doing when you were 15. I can think about what I was doing when I was 15. I was moping around in my room, like, you know, puberty taking its effect on you, right? Hormones all over the place, and like putting whatever angst I had into like creative stuff. I used to draw, I used to listen to music, all this sort of stuff. I used to play football. I was lucky enough, you know, to only be teased here and there, but like I believe that everyone in their schooling life has gone through, like, at least once in their life, gone through someone just like teasing them, bullying them, essentially, like that. I'm lucky enough to kind of like only just think about just a couple of times where I just felt terrible. But for this kid, for a child to think that his only escape is to end his own life, his only escape to stop these people from abusing him, from tormenting him, is to end his life, it literally brings a tear into my eye. No child should ever have to even think about doing that. They shouldn't. They should be worried. They should be like worrying about the normal things in life, you know, like, what should I wear for non-uniform day? When's the new Sidemen video dropping? You know, that sort of stuff. They shouldn't have to worry and feel scared about these things. And make no mistake here. Make no mistake. There's loads of factors to blame here, right? This isn't as simple as, right, let's put the blame on he had an iPhone and his friends had a Samsung. No. There's obvious factors that need to be investigated here. Where were the teachers? You know? From this school, I have heard so many things talking about how this school doesn't care about bullies. Doesn't care. Even the teachers get involved with bullying these children. Now, I will say, I've read them, they're anecdotal, so obviously I don't have any necessary like primary proof of this, and also considering I didn't go to that school, I didn't have any proof. But what I can say is that if these even 10%, if it's even 10% true that teachers were taking part in the bullying, then something needs to change. Something needs to give, because a school, like it or not, it's a kid's second home. They spend, right, and I can sit here and calculate it, but by and large, they spend over 50% of their time in school, right? Now put yourself in these shoes. Imagine, you know, you go to school, you're bullied, right? Because you're bullied, you lose motivation to work, right? You don't have the morale, so you don't work, right? You do badly in school, so your parents are kind of just thinking what's going on, and obviously, like, your parents can be supportive, but in some cases, like, they will just be like angry and be like, what's wrong with you, da 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 da. And add those two together, it's terrible as is, and now you've got a hostile environment at home because you've got pressures to do well, as well as a hostile environment in school because, you know, there's just kids out there that just want to like end you, and it's a cycle that just keeps repeating itself. And it's obvious that for this kid, like, that's, you know, that could be what had happened. And, you know, teachers are supposed to educate. They're supposed to make sure that you leave school with the right knowledge to at least, you know, enter university life. I'm not saying that they should have a Mr. Miyagi moment and teach you how to do everything, but that's also not to say that, you know, they shouldn't aspire to be like that. I find it terrible how you have teachers who, you know, obviously, you know, you don't expect everyone to work as hard as like everyone else. If everyone worked as hard as everyone else, we would all be robots, right? Plain and simple. But it breaks my heart knowing that there's teachers out there that they do it for a check. They do it to get money. They come home, right, and then they live their own life. When as a teacher you have the responsibility to ensure that every kid in your class, right, or, you know, as much as you can, you make sure that these kids are inspired in one way, shape or form. You know, if I'm a maths teacher, okay, fine, I could sit there and teach maths, but part of what I think is to become a teacher is to make sure that there's going to be kids in your class that aren't good at that subject, you know. There's going to be kids in your class that are amazing, there's going to be kids in your class that aren't. It's your job to make sure that they might not be good at it, right, but to make them enjoy their time at school, at least. And it's evident here that's not what was happening. And, you know, it honestly, it just breaks my heart into pieces, because if this hadn't happened, right, you know, this kid, right, poor kid, he didn't kill himself, right, he would be living in that ultimate sadness, right, knowing, at least in his school time, that like no one would be there to help him. And it's hard to explain here, because, you know, if it wasn't him, then there's always going to be another person. He's not the first, and he most definitely won't be the last, unless we take a cold hard look at the education system, and we take a look at, you know, making sure that children have a somewhat of a focus being put on them. Because until that happens, we're going to hear about stories like this until we end up having kids ourselves. If you've got kids already, then until your kids have grandkids, and further on and further on and further on. Because right now, nothing has changed. In fact, it's got worse, because you can't, you know, in school times before phones, you could monitor as much as you could in class, and as long as the kid went home straight after, you know, it's kind of fine. But you've got WhatsApp, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got these anonymous question apps that almost allow these bullies to just send as much hate as they possibly can into the world. And it's disgusting, because these teachers, and I don't, unless you're taking part in bullying them, I don't blame you, but you should be finding ways to ensure that your kids in your form, your class and everything, they don't abuse these forms of social media. That you should teach them how to have some shame, and like, if they haven't got anything nice to say, right, then they shouldn't say it, right? There's criticism, and then there's being a dick. And realistically, with kids, they don't know what criticism is. So 9 times out of 10, they're just being dicks, right? Unfortunately, it's how kids are, right? But if we allowed teachers, if people educated teachers on how to, you know, on how to, like, not police these apps, but at least to make sure that apps like this aren't being used to just abuse kids and lead them to the point where they feel like the only way that they're getting out is through ending their own life. Until we do that, then this isn't going to be the end of these issues. And I just hope that with everything that's happened so far this year, I just hope that it doesn't take another tragedy to shed light on other various issues. You know, we're in a world where we have supercomputers in our pocket. Whether you like it or not, the iPhones, the Samsungs, if anyone's still using a BlackBerry, these phones we've got in our pockets had and have more power than what took man to the moon. Make no mistake, we have the power to educate ourselves in our pocket. It's just for us to kind of look for it, you know. With everything that's happened, educate yourself on what's going on around the world, you know. I'm not saying you have to write an essay or make a video or everything, but at least know in your heart what's going on. Have a read, right? In any, like, even a 5-minute read of an article, right? Or a TLDR on a Reddit post can go a long way into making sure that you at least know what's going on. And I know obviously no celebrity is going to be listening to this, but if you are a celebrity, or if you have any sort of following, it doesn't matter whether it's 10 people, or a couple of hundred people, or near millions, use your platform for good, you know? Use your platform to educate people about the things that matter in this world, because you've been given such a privilege. You know, you've got this many followers that they will care and listen to you about anything. You know, you like it or not, whether you're a singer, you are an influencer. So use your power for the good. Thank you for listening. This turned into quite the long rant. I apologize. It wasn't supposed to be a long rant. It was supposed to be a short video. And this was off script as well. So I hope that my message kind of came across. This is like the first time I've ever done a video like this. So if you enjoyed it and would like to see more like this, then please leave a like. Subscribe if you are new here. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.